Good evening. Sorry for the late start, but good evening. Welcome to my coverage of the last group game of the, simultaneously the last two group games of this Euro 2020 tournament. I won't be covering Germany-Hungary, as interesting as that could be, as much as Hungary are outsiders, underdogs in that one. It's a clash of two titans in Budapest. Both teams have won this tournament before, France and Portugal. Of course, I've missed the national anthems and the players coming out of the tunnel. What I will say is that if France beat Portugal today, and if by a big enough margin, and depending on the results of the other match in Munich, it could well be that, astonishingly, Portugal, the defending champions, aren't so fortunate as they were in the group stages in 2016 and are eliminated from the tournament. You see France's lineup there, similar lineup to before, but it appears to be a 4-2-3-1 formation. Corentin Tolisso replacing Adrien Rabiot, and Jules Koundé of Sevilla, one of the most promising young defenders in the world, according to many people, taking the place of Benjamin Pavard at right back. Funnily enough, France not playing in Munich, where Pavard plays his club football. And Fernando Santos has had an unchanged back line in spite of course, conceding 4 goals, including 2 own goals. He's brought Renato Sanchez and João Moutinho into the starting lineup. Jota, Ronaldo and Silva also keep their places, not to mention Rui Patricio in goal. France's qualification to the knockout stage is secure. It's simply a matter of where in their group they're finishing. If there's a draw in this game, and Germany, as expected, would beat Hungary, which is also a replay of a famous tournament final before, the 1954 World Cup final, that is, could be that France finish second in their group. There is even a scenario where if Portugal and Germany win, they finish third, but in all likelihood they will go through. They will go through as one of the top 2 teams, and the match does go underway. And it's back to Presnel Kimpembe. And now it's Lucas Hernandez, who lost his place in the starting lineup in Hungary's dramatic second group game against Hungary. And loose touch there for the defender, but the pressing has been so less intense than you'd expect during a club season that Portugal don't go for it straight away. As France begin their play from the back. It was Karim Benzema who initiated the kickoff. Here's Koundé, and it's Raphael Varane. Now Paul Pogba will be looking for one of those nice long balls to advance play. And Koundé overlapping, not what he's used to doing for Sevilla. He's got it into the penalty area. But before long, it is kept away. Lots of pressure on Portugal. As I said, they are once again at risk of having to use the way of the third place teams to qualify from their group. And it could well be that they qualify third in their group again, especially given how results could unfold in the other match in Germany. And that's a fantastic ball over the top into Tolisso. You'd expect someone like Mbappe to get on the end of that, or Benzema, but it was Corentin Tolisso, who's normally used to playing sometimes as a deeper midfielder, playing on the wide side of attack. I remember him doing that for France at the World Cup 3 years ago, filling in for the suspended Blaise Matuidi. Matuidi now of Inter Miami in the Major League Soccer. Of Major League Soccer in the United States. Ripe old age of 35. And Tolisso filled in for him when Matuidi was suspended for one of the knockout matches. And also passed it to Antoine Griezmann, from what I recall, when he chipped the ball deliberately into Fernando Muslera, who spilt it into his own net for 2-0, which was the final scoreline in that game. Here's Renato Sanchez, a player that fans, armchair enthusiasts across Portugal were desperate to see Santos start in this game. He does make the 11. And here's Portugal trying to break down the left, and I think Kempembe just managed to, well, he doesn't. The ball, it stays in play. Sanchez lobs it forwards, but it's right into Hugo Lloris before Jota can stab it in the net. Sorry, that's Bernardo Silva. My apologies. Silva having tracked back to his position of the right side of attacking midfield, or it will probably at times be the right side of midfield, given how defensive Portugal have played, with mixed results at the tournament so far. It's appeared to pay off in the dying moments of that game against Hungary, where just after conceding a goal which would eventually be disallowed, Portugal went on to win 3-0, and here is Kylian Mbappe. 4 minutes in, breaking into the penalty area. A nice casually floated ball, but it is all France's pressure. As things stand, it's Pogba. Now it's Jules Koundé. As I said, he's used to playing at centre-back. He's not one you'd expect to cross the ball. Sanchez beats Varane to that. And Portugal have won a free kick. There's Fernando Santos, one of many defensive coaches at this tournament, many criticising him for being too defensive-minded. There's no harm in setting up against big teams like that, but ultimately it did mean that the midfield has been rather lethargic and has affected the positioning of players like Semedo, the right-back, and that explains why they had so many issues, of course conceding 4 goals against Germany in Munich, which means that if Germany and Portugal ends up on the same number of points tonight, assuming no one else finishes on the same number of points as them, Portugal would finish behind Germany in the group because of that head-to-head record. It's unusual, although a lot of bodies do it, but FIFA would simply break the teams down, tiebreaker, through goal difference as opposed to head results, and the header again, not particularly dangerous from Ronaldo, straight into Hugo Lloris. And now France attempt to counter-attack, and it's Mbappe again. And he briefly lost control of the ball there, but he's round Semedo, and he's won the first corner of the evening. I was talking about Blaise Matuidi being an old player. He'll probably not play for France again, but there's Pepe, who's 38 years old. And this is Pepe's 7th major tournament. It is Mbappe who takes the corner, not particularly good. Kept out very easily by Portuguese defenders. Here's Didier Deschamps. Like Santos, he likes to be pragmatic. But the consensus is he's probably been a better balanced defensive manager, although you could argue that France has the deepest squad, if not in Europe, in world football internationally. Even the likes of Koundé could start for the majority of countries, even bigger teams. And here is your Koundé. Portugal forward now. Here's Rafael Guerreiro, who's not only scored the own goal in Munich, he scored the opening goal late in Budapest a week ago against Hungary, which led to that mini goal avalanche at the end of the match. Before Portugal won a penalty, which Cristiano Ronaldo converted. For a while it was the only converted penalty at the tournament before Memphis Depay scored his against Austria. We saw a number of key players miss penalties in other matches. Particularly coming to mind is Ruslan Malinovsky for Ukraine when they had a chance to go 3-1 up and in the end it finished 2-1. And speaking of Ukraine, results regarding Group E earlier today confirms their survival in the tournament. They do qualify as a third place team to the knockout stage. And while Portugal hold their breath even more so on the complete opposite ends of Europe, so do Finland. Finland would need a heavy defeat from France to allow them to pip Portugal on goal difference. They need a result not too dissimilar to something like 4-0 France. And he certainly won't be smiling as they see Jossa steam forward here, although Griezmann tackles him and Mathieu Lahoge of Spain declares no free kick. Mbappe again from the halfway line, tackled by Semedo. Although I think part of that was a bit of poor ball control. And it is a very aggressive challenge from Griezmann. But he doesn't make contact with Jota, and he did win the ball. Not the play you'd expect to... well, of course, Griezmann did play in a very counter-attacking side at Atletico Madrid for many years, but still, he's used to scoring much further forward. But of course, in that number 10 role, I guess there is going to be a lot of responsibility, as there's disagreements between Hernandez, Semedo, Pepe as to who gets the throw-in. France get the decision, and Hernandez does take the throw-in. And here is Paul Pogba. It's Varane, who, to a lesser extent than Pogba, is a pretty solid passer out the back, of course, proficient with both feet. Not playing as the left-sided centre-back tonight. Deschamps has sought the services of a genuine left-footer in Prajnok Kimpembe, and it probably would have been Samuel Umtiti, but Umtiti with the repeated injury and fitness issues at Barcelona. That's a really ambitious ball from Paul Pogba, but too heavy for Kylian Mbappe, and many felt that was why France had that second goal. On a couple of occasions disallowed the goal they scored towards the end, which Benzema put away in Munich against Germany for 2-0, was disallowed because Pogba's touch to Mbappe was too heavy, and in the end he played both Mbappe and Karim Benzema offside. Patricio, nervy out the back there, has to force it onto his right foot, his weaker foot out of the back there. Semedo now. Danilo Pereira of Paris Saint-Germain. Maybe not for the foreseeable future, has even played at centre-back many times, particularly under Thomas Tuchel, now the former Paris Saint-Germain coach. N'Golo Kante. I think that looks like Rafael Guerreiro making a very intense run. Indeed it is, running practically into the centre-forward role. He's now back to left-back. Karim Benzema in a deeper position right now. Kante. No, that's N'Golo Kante now. It's back to N'Golo Kante. Varane. Tolisso, who's essentially become a central midfielder. I imagine Deschamps is probably shifting the system into a diamond midfield again, with Tolisso tucking into midfield and giving more freedom to Griezmann, Benzema and Mbappe. Danilo Pereira. Semedo. Now it's Bernardo Silva. And Cristiano Ronaldo, who is the centre forward today. Could argue, at least at club level, Jota is just as capable of playing that role as he has done a handful of times for Liverpool and even Wolverhampton Wanderers, his former club. And that's a nice inspired ball from Sanchez, but before Ronaldo can perform that towering header, Lloris claims it. But a great communication between the midfielder and the forward as Pepe and Semedo deal with Mbappe's attention. Back to Rui Patricio. Renato Sanchez. Pereira a bit nervous there, but he's back with Patricio and he clears it on his stronger foot this time. Before Griezmann could get to it, only as far out as Pogba though. Now it's Tolisso scrapping with former club teammate Sanchez. Sanchez, of course, has left Bayern Munich to play his football with Lille in France, and there has indeed been a goal in the opening game, and this could be catastrophic for Germany as Hungary, with a really inspired header, beating Manuel Neuer. And of course, this is the only game that Hungary are not playing in the group stage in Munich, and many felt without the support of their 60,000 strong crowds that they would succumb to the home advantage of the Allianz Arena, albeit with a smaller crowd in attendance. Well, they are in front now, as they were against Portugal, but the goal was ruled out, and as they were against France, the goal did stand, and they eventually went on to draw that game. As things stand, Germany would be out in the groups for a second tournament running. Still lots of football to be played, but that is truly not what they will have hoped for, and it could well mean that Hungary progress as one of the third place teams. They'd be on 4 points easily enough. Of course, it means that Finland would be going home tonight. Millions of fans with their fingers crossed right now. One of those teams was going to feel that way regardless. It could have been Ukraine we're talking about. Of course, Slovakia eliminated. Griezmann with an inspired ball forward, but no one really there to intercept it. And it's easy for Patricio to sweep up and play back into midfield as Dias finds Pereira. Now it's Sanchez again. I don't see Pereira often passing the ball to the other central midfielder in Portugal's setup tonight, João Moutinho, who was once teammates with Diogo Jota not so long ago. That is João Moutinho on the ball there. It's Pepe. A lot of past, present and present Porto players in this side. Pepe, of course, of FC Porto right now. Part of their key performance in the Champions League, which knocked Italian giants Juventus out of the competition. And that's a nice soft pass. And it's dealt with by Tolisso, but he couldn't control it. And Guerrero now keeping possession. It's Ruben Dias. And now back to Patricio, all the way back to Portugal's goalkeeper there. And it's easily played into France. Raphael Varane now. Pogba. And N'Golo Kante. Another really dangerous ball. Kylian Mbappe's in. Great save from Rui Patricio. And Kylian Mbappe yet to get off the mark in this tournament. Missed a fantastic opportunity. Advantage played despite the foul there on a Portuguese player. But that was a beautiful ball, and it's something many feel people would hope Pogba could achieve more often at club level for Manchester United, but I guess it involves a completely different setup. Some argue that it's simply not possible at club level, and Pogba is so much more freed up at France because, well, that's how international football is played. It allows you to do that, but what a chance for Mbappe. And it's a free kick to Portugal. Foul was Renato Sanchez. And I think Mbappe was offside actually, as was Griezmann. But that was a great stop, and Patricio stood strong and parried it away. Of course, France have only scored 2 goals so far in this competition. One of which an own goal, Mats Hummels clearing into his own net, and Griezmann equalising in Budapest a matter of days ago. If you look at certain goal-scoring data, not counting the fact they scored an own goal, France arguably have only done enough really to score 2 goals on the whole, but considering their quality, both cohesively and as individuals, you certainly fancy them to score at least once tonight. Decision going against France there, as Koundé collided with Jota from behind. Reckless foul in the end. Moutinho forward to Renato Sanchez. Now here's Nelson Semedo and Bernardo Silva. Switches it with Semedo, sorry. Mbappe tracking all the way back to deal with it. Sanchez. Pepe. Dias. Moutinho. Cristiano Ronaldo. Not normally involved in the playmaking process. Expecting to be in the box right now. And it's dealt with. Kimpembe controlling and keeping out Semedo's low cross. I feel it wasn't. It was going to be maybe even intercepted by Varane before Bernardo Silva could get there. And no foul by Kante as Hernandez tries to clear the ball upfield, but it's only as far back as Ruben Dias. Oh, lovely from Moutinho. Well into his first season, still got the legs, at least to progress the ball at that point. Talk that Moutinho is leaving Wolves going into the new season. Possibility that Ruben Neves, likewise, who has been sitting on the bench pretty much the whole tournament so far for Portugal, is also potentially leaving for greener pastures. Hearing rumours of Manchester United or even Arsenal. And that's a poorly headed ball by Rafael Varane, and Ronaldo hit that first time. But he was well marked, well covered. And of course, Cristiano Ronaldo striking that on the left foot. It was mishit, to be honest. And across the 6-yard box. And like Portugal, Hugo Lloris, the first choice keeper for their country, is left-footed, and there's some nervy passing out the back. Portugal pressing very intensely at this stage. Benzema. And now it's N'Golo Kante. You can see how much France's players, you've seen Mbappe, Griezmann and Benzema, all virtually players, defenders, their work rate and tracking back has been exceptional. And you feel that will reap rewards sooner or later in this game. But they've given it away to Sanchez. Still going, but Benzema's won it now. It's with Pogba and N'Golo Kante. Griezmann to Hernandez. Now it's with Rafael Varane. Koundé. Back to Pogba and Varane. Kimpembe. And referee plays advantage. Griezmann brought down by Pereira, but the ball remains in France's park. Koundé. Pogba. Tries to be really ambitious with the ball into Koundé, but it's now with Benzema onto his left foot. And they can't control it, and Portugal have a free kick. Of course, just like Mbappe, Benzema scoreless in this tournament so far. Both Mbappe and Benzema, of course, scoring at disallowed goals in that opening match against Germany. As I mentioned, Benzema scored late, but the goal was ruled out for an offside. Pass hit way too heavy by Pogba. And then the second goal around the hour mark was Kylian Mbappe, played offside, but he dribbled around the defenders and sliced it past Manuel Neuer. I believe he scored something even more impressive like that counted in the Champions League quarter-finals, where PSG knocked out the defending champions Bayern Munich. Take your pick there. Quarter of this match gone so far. Pereira. Sanchez. Now Diogo Jota. Players like Bernardo Silva and Jota, not to mention Ruben Dias on the ball there. Had no to little Moutinho forward here. Dealt with easily by Varane, and now Kimpembe back to Lloris. I was saying that in the Euro 2016, certain players were not particularly important and did not feature in that tournament, were not called up by Santos. Sanchez, of course, played an increasingly incremental part in Portugal's progress to the final. Pepe, of course, was a rock at the back. His partner is in the squad, Joseph Font, but he hasn't played a minute at this tournament so far. Dias was a very young man, teenager, I think, at the time. Rafael Guerreiro was another key player at fullback. Of course, Bernardo Silva, I think, was out injured. Jota was also very young and wouldn't have been deemed so important to play for Portugal at the time. Danilo Pereira was a key midfielder, normally partnered with, as has been the case at this tournament so far, until tonight, William Carvalho. And they reached the final. Some would argue after a relatively straightforward set of opponents against France, who had faced the reigning world champions Germany in the semi-finals, and that ball was hit too far for Mbappe there. No pressure on the defenders to mop it up, really. So it will go behind for a goal kick. But of course in that final, France outclassed Portugal. Portugal relying on, even greater to an extent than tonight, defensive brilliance and some good goalkeeping. A looping header from Antoine Griezmann, forcing Patricio into an excellent save less than 10 minutes in. And of course, another 10 minutes later, Dimitri Payet clattered into Ronaldo. Clumsy challenge, reckless challenge. Ronaldo unable to continue eventually. The iconic footage of a moth flying onto his nose as he sat down, struggling to believe the situation he was in, overcome with emotion, forced to the bench for the rest of the evening. Portugal taking it to extra time, even though Griezmann missed a couple of chances. And Andre Gignac with an inspired run and what should have been the winning goal at the end, but his shot, he dribbled into the post. Goes to extra time, and then Portugal got lively. Guerreiro hit the bar with a free kick. There he is. And it was a man who is not at all in Portugal's squad this year, Eder, who recently played his football in Russia with Lokomotiv Moscow, with an inspired, delicate, deadly strike from 25 yards past Lloris to win Portugal their first ever international title. Quite unexpected, especially considering Portugal were fortunate in some regards unlucky to get through the group stages, fortunate to go through, but unlucky that they in the end only managed 3 points when you could argue had those 3 games gone slightly differently, they could have picked up all 9. But that's how tournament football goes. Luck will play its part. It could be what sends Hungary through tonight if the current scoreline holds in the other game in Munich. Bernardo Silva and Moutinho standing over this one. And it will be João Moutinho to float this into the area, punched out by Lloris. And the referee says penalty! Yellow card shown to Varane. And Danilo in a heap on the floor. A serious inquiry going on from Le Bleu as the physios have already attended to Pereira. It appears to be Kimpembe who has... I didn't see who brought Pereira down, but Kimpembe looks like the one who's being summoned over, and Varane, of course, as well. And it looks like Pereira was struck quite high up. And they've even got a stretcher out for the defensive midfielder. Paul Pogba wants to go over Lahoge. He pleads his case, but Lahoge won't hear it. So we see here a collision with Lloris. Indeed, it was Lloris who struck the ball, but also Pereira. I do feel it's a particularly harsh, but Lloris didn't win the ball properly. Was there another incident which I didn't notice? I can be occasionally unobservant, I'll admit, but in the end it's much harder to watch things through a TV monitor than seeing it with your own eyes in the stadium. Thankfully, Pereira is upright and walking. The stretcher, thankfully, not required in this instance. And let's hope we see that as few times through the tournament, the remainder of the tournament, as possible. Oof. Nasty collision from Lloris. He does strike Pereira in the side of the head. And Cristiano Ronaldo, as he did against Hungary, as you'd expect with any situation with Portugal on the penalty duty, will step up for this one. No goals in the first 90 minutes of that iconic, some might say for the wrong reasons, Euro 2016 final. We might get a goal after just half an hour of play here. And France, given the situation, will probably still finish second in their group, and it could be Portugal topping the group. A lot of football to play, and the penalty still yet to be taken. All speculation. Here goes Ronaldo, and Portugal lead 1-0. And a team which, given the circumstances, could have found themselves knocked out tonight in prime position to top their group and advance into the last 16. And just as he did against Hungary, it was a powerfully struck, well-placed penalty from Ronaldo. Lloris judging incorrectly the direction of the ball. And Ronaldo has his third goal of the tournament. No, my apologies, his fourth. He scored twice against Hungary. The second goal was absolutely brilliant team goal. Individual brilliance from Ronaldo as well. Then scored the opening goal for Portugal in Munich, and now from the spot here. A lot of pressure. And not for the first time in this tournament, the world champions trail. Loose touch by Kimpembe there, but not a lot of pressure. As you can see, Portugal would top the group at the moment, which means they would go on. They would go on to face a third place team. And France would be the one set to play England in the last 16. They'd go to Wembley and face the Three Lions. And at the moment it's Hungary who could be facing Belgium. A replay of a knockout match in Euro 2016 where Hungary may be a little hard done by. Not necessarily that they were cheated out of a win. Belgium did win 4-0, but not to have at least scored a couple. Belgium incredibly powerful that night, although ultimately maybe it was the clinical finishing that deserted them in the next game then against Wales. Not the first time in this tournament I've mentioned a classic quarter-final tie. A very risky pass. Pressured down by Mbappe and Tolisso. And right away, France showing their intent. As Bernardo Silva brings down Hernandez. Free kick, France. Lloris having conceded the penalty. It is still 1-0 in Munich to the Hungarians. Adam Szalai was the goalkeeper. Sorry, Szalai. Szalai is the, I believe, defender. No, it's Roman Szalai, who also plays as a forward. It's Attila Szalai, who plays in defence along with Vili Orban and Andrei Boczka. Here go Portugal again, though. It's Sanchez. And Bernardo Silva. Moutinho. And it's a very ambitious and poorly taken shot. He had to curve it around, and in the end it went straight past the goal into the crowds. Would probably have been headed out of play by Varane anyway. Pogba now. France still have an hour to change things, but Portugal have shown to be menacing. And here they come again, with Bernardo Silva trying to feed in a teammate. He plays it back to Semedo, who in turn plays it back to Pepe. Pereira there. Not looking completely sound there. I'm sure he'll feel more naturally into the game as time continues. It's back with Dias, now Pepe. Pereira now. Sanchez. Both Dias and Sanchez, graduates of the Benfica Academy. Sanchez round Pogba. And here's Jota, who keeps his feet and keeps going despite the challenge from Kante. And it's into the gloves of Lloris. Of course, with a 2-goal difference advantage over Hungary, you wouldn't really expect France to then drop to third. Of course, having finished level with Hungary on head-to-head as the first tiebreaker, as Hernandez pulls down Portuguese player and is booked, understandably. Cynical foul. It is, as things stand, France still look good to at least finish in the top 2 in this group. And of course, Hungary would qualify as a third-place team, as I said. Most likely of all to face Belgium. Difficult memories for Hungary. Deserved better in that 4-0 win. Not saying that Belgium were undeserving of the win. Of course, it was a huge margin, but Hungary were hard done by. Kimpembe to Varane. Koundé. Benzema, Pogba. Benzema not only dropping deep to receive the ball, but probably also to pull the centre-backs and defensive midfielders out of position. Maybe in the case of defensive midfielders you can question that, but no doubt, well, there only being one today in the form of Pereira, Dias and Pepe are very experienced and capable between them. It is going to be more difficult, that's for sure. As Varane plays it forwards into Griezmann. All he can do with the ball is hit it first time, and it's arced over the top. course, not the result Finland would have hoped for. They would have wanted a big France win. Certainly not looking that way as things stand in order to get them through into the last 16 as per through finishing third place in their group. Nice ball into Semedo and just kept in. It was Kimpembe who almost let that go behind, but it's cleared off the line, and that's a French free kick. And just like Hernandez a few minutes ago, Bernardo Silva brings his fellow number 10 to the ground. Obviously, you've got the tiny frame of Silva against someone who's not particularly tall himself, but the much more physically stronger Kylian Mbappe. A big factor in how he's managed to create or score so many goals. Ball forward into Benzema, but he can't hold up play, and it's with Pepe, former Real Madrid teammate. Sanchez. Not really got anyone to play it forward to now. Moutinho. Pereira. Free kick. Of course, he's conceded. He's won a very important foul already tonight. Wouldn't be surprised if Pereira did the same thing again later this evening, although hopefully without the same consequences to his health. I think that's Antoine Griezmann receiving a yellow card. It's his first of the competition. Sanchez now. Dias, nice pass along the floor into the midfield. And it's not particularly accurate ball into Ronaldo. And France's throw. Kunde takes it. And that's a poor giveaway by Antoine Griezmann. It's Bernardo Silva. He's closed down. But here's Moutinho! Again, didn't find the target. Not particularly near, in fact. Kante. Hernandez. Prejno Kimpembe. Raphael Varane. Nice touch from Griezmann. Transferring it to Kunde. Kunde again with the probably relative to other centre-backs and full-backs unfamiliar task of spreading it in, but it's gone out of play. High five between Pereira and I think it was Ruben Dias there. Pereira. It's out to straight to Lebledo. And that's another free kick. And Hernandez already booked. Lahoge is giving him leniency there. But it was a very, very clear foul on Silva. And Hernandez has to watch his step, because if, regardless of France's progression, he would fancy against most last 16 opponents, even the English, but Hernandez will play no part in whatever round of 16 game they play in if he isn't careful here. And Jota spreading that out. And it's into Ronaldo. Silva. Nice feet. It's with Ronaldo. And Kimpembe has brought him down, and Portugal have a free kick. I don't know if Kimpembe will be carded. Yes, it was more clumsiness than anything from Kimpembe. I think he was trying to go for the ball, but he ended up swerving his leg into Ronaldo, and Ronaldo does appear to go down quite easily, but understandably Deschamps not at all pleased. Another set piece, and of course it was Moutinho's set piece that led to the penalty in effect. I'm sure France will have kept memories, very fresh memories of that penalty incident out of their minds, but this is going to be a tough outcome. And again, it'll be Moutinho who takes it. And it's headed away. Portugal won't let it go out for a throw, and I think it was starting to curve back infield. But it's back with Patricio now. And it's Dias. Bernardo Silva. And didn't find Semedo there. Out it goes, and finally France maybe have retained possession and give them the time they have remaining in the first half to compose themselves a bit. It would be extraordinary that, and maybe unsurprising that in a group of death, where all three teams are battling for survival, that all three of Portugal, Germany and France could all lose games, all to each other, in this group stage. Germany will want to change that though. Hernandez. Paul Pogba, who is probably too out for a long shot, and is that a penalty? Referee wants Mbappe on his feet. No. I think he has given it, you know. Or yes, he's going to VAR first. I did feel Mbappe went down a little easily. But no sooner than France have gone behind, they have a chance here, and that did look. It's Semedo, and he does appear to go down easily, Mbappe, but whatever play there was, no intent for the ball from Semedo. We're already in stoppage time at the end of the first half here. Now Mbappe is pushed, but was it more of a collision? Of course, Semedo intends to push him, but it's not necessarily. It wasn't necessarily with enough force to bring Mbappe down. Karim Benzema looks like he'll take this one. Of course, Benzema missed a penalty against Wales in the friendly. 3 minutes of time to be added on. I'm sure it's not going to be 2 minutes necessarily. Lahoge has signalled that it was a foul from Nelson Semedo. And you'd expect Antoine Griezmann to take penalties normally for France, but he's missed many in the last couple of seasons. And it is going to be Karim Benzema. Griezmann and Benzema, of course, once rivals on either side of the Madrid derby, now on either side of the El Clasico rivalry. It's Benzema. It's 1-1. And having had his celebration taken from him Munich a week ago with that disallowed goal, even though it's from the spot, he can finally celebrate a tournament goal at long last. Forced into the wilderness for a few years, and finally he has his moments of joy. Individual joy, no doubt. There's still half a game to be played for his country. Of course, he's converted penalties for France at major tournaments before. I think of the 2014 World Cup. Although, of course, he scored a penalty against, I believe it was Honduras in 2014, and then in the next game against Switzerland, he did miss a penalty, and Johan Bukabai slammed the rebound into the woodwork. That's a more trivial detail, but you don't get that every time a penalty is saved or missed. So it's 1-1, France 1, Portugal 1, albeit with each goal having come from the spot. Referee not ready to blow the whistle yet for half-time. As the Spaniards in confrontation with the Portuguese there. Spanish referee, Portuguese manager. As things stand, of course, France on course for what would be 5 points, and that's a bad giveaway from Presnel Kimpembe, but Varane deals with it before Ronaldo can sniff it. N'Golo Kante, and it's Benzema in France. Maybe have time for another attack. A sudden chance to go in front, maybe. Tolisso. Good ball. And it goes out of play. It arrived too quick for Benzema. And potentially a future club teammate at Real Madrid's Kylian Mbappe. Really nice acrobatics from Benzema to keep the ball in play, but it was still too much for Mbappe to do. Sanchez now. And it's Rafael Guerreiro bursting down the left side. Sanchez. Moutinho. Ronaldo. And he's collided with his fellow number 7, Griezmann, and Portugal have won a free kick. There might just be time for one more twist in this first half. Nope. The referee has called it for the first half. As things stand at the moment, France would be on 5 points, Portugal on 4, Hungary on 4, and thus on head-to-head. Portugal in second place would be in front, Hungary in third. Good enough to go through for a third place team, and would you believe it, Germany, bottom of their group on 3 points at the moment. I know a lot of German fans might not say it's that surprising, but they're still a powerhouse of European and world football on paper at least, and you would expect better. But in Budapest, Hungary, one of the host nations of this tournament, one of the host stadiums, it is Portugal 1, France 1. Welcome back to the final group games of Euro 2020. Danilo Pereira coming off for a player who many feel, again like Sanchez, has been unjustly benched, unfairly overlooked. João Palhinha to take the place of Danilo Pereira. It'll be the first time, I think, all tournament where neither Danilo Pereira or William Cavalier on the pitch as the second half is underway at last. Both of these teams appear to be comfortably through to the last 16 as things stand. France had qualified regardless before this game. And of course, great run from Renato Sanchez here. It's fed to Cristiano Ronaldo and out to Silva, but it's intercepted by France's new substitute player, Luca Digne, who takes the place of Luca Hernandez. And I wonder if Deschamps is trying to preserve Hernandez for a future game. That's a great ball from Koundé into Mbappe here. And he's won a throw-in. I was going to say, of course, in the other game in Munich, Germany still trailing Hungary by 1-0. And albeit they have many minutes in which to save their skins. 45 minutes to save their skins, do Germany. Hungary, of course, defending with their life, I'm sure. Not able to see the game, but no doubt considering the difference in quality between the two sides, you can make an argument that aside from there's not one of Hungary's starting 11 would appear in Germany's. And even Goulash might struggle to make Germany's bench, although of course you have someone like Kevin Trapp on their bench. That's not, I don't mean to be unfair to Trapp, but I'm referring to the quality. That's a good ball. Here's Benzema, and it's 2-1. Like buses, he's opened his goal-scoring accounts at this championship. Or, well, it stands even. Referee's flag for offside. It does look very marginal. And it looks like Dias points his arm forward, and that could make the difference here. Coolly slotted past Patricio. And it is still being processed by VAR. And the goal is given. France have come from behind to lead the team who beat them to this title in the last edition of the tournament. Portugal still in this championship, but with Hungary still leading Germany, it's looking worrying for Fernando Santos and his men. Because as things stand, France on 7 points, Hungary on 4. They would be in second and would go on to face England. Germany would be in third place. As we see replays of Benzema's strike coming in off the post there. Because as things stand, and there's no way of saying that this is how things stay, but as it stands, it's Portugal who will finish bottom of the group and drop out of the tournament. Because Germany would finish in third place, having beaten Portugal on head-to-head. This is an ambitious ball into Ronaldo! Couldn't quite steer it in. It was hit with pace at him. And he, of course, managed to leap past the left-footed Digne and Kimpembe. And Lloris had the post covered. But as things stand, France on 7 to top the group. Hungary could finish second on 4 points. And Portugal and Germany, each having lost 2 games, could well be in a position where could it be that after everything, England go on to face their opponents. As I said, plenty of football to be played. Still 40 minutes to go, not counting stoppage time and injury time, which of course will follow. And that's a very poor pass aimed for Digne, who had disappeared up the pitch, presumably to overlap in an attack, but it's with Digne now. And France immediately receive a throw-in, but Digne has gone down. And he looks like he's in quite a bit of discomfort. It happened very quickly here. And this doesn't necessarily look like cramp. The physios are already there. And immediately he raised his hand to say, nope. Something has gone. And that is an incredibly sad sight. Digne is a fantastic player going forward, especially for his Premier League side Everton, and he thinks it's pulled something in his right thigh. And goodness me, Digne, who started the game in the place of Lucas Hernandez and has come on in his place again, or being substituted, and it looks like no sooner than he's come on, Digne will be replaced, and Adrien Rabiot looks like he might be coming on, although Digne appears to be on the pitch. Remains to be seen if France do make a change here. And indeed it is Rabiot coming on, and this is very fascinating because now France will be playing with, possibly playing without any wide players whatsoever now from defence, because of course Deschamps has traditionally played with centre-backs for full-backs. Digne, one of the wing-backs in their squad, he's not even sitting on the bench. It looks like he's going to go up to the stands to receive treatment, and now Rabiot will join what appears to be a five-man midfield, a three-man defence, five-man defence, and maybe a two-man attack. And when I say five men in midfield, that includes Antoine Griezmann, presumably still in a sort of attacking midfield role, or a free forwards attacking role there. And Benzema forward now, and he's won a free kick. No, advantage played to Portugal actually. Deems a fair challenge. Here's Sanchez, dicing with Mbappe from the looks of things. My apologies, it was N'Golo Kante actually. Very fascinating head-to-head there, two very capable and interesting and unique midfielders. Sanchez very technical but very capable box-to-box. Kante a pit bull of sorts. He relentlessly goes after the ball. To an extent, something of an anomaly. Here's Pepe. From what I can gather, it is France will play with four central midfielders: Kante, Pogba, Tolisso and Rabiot. Then you have the three-man attack of Griezmann, Mbappe and Benzema. And, well, of course, the three centre-backs can sit centrally. I'm yet to see what they're doing in terms of patterns so far, but it would be a back three of Kimpembe, Varane and Koundé. All of which have reached the finals of European competitions at club level. Varane, multiple Champions Leagues. Kimpembe's reached the final with Paris Saint-Germain. And Koundé won the Europa League with Sevilla last year. So Reece goes way off his line to clear that. But it's Portugal's throw. Surely we're going to see more goals in this game. There's so much at stake here. But this is Deschamps' system. And here is Karim Benzema. Ball comfortably tackled by the defenders in the end. Tolisso heads it out, and Portugal can return the pressure in France's half. And it's a giveaway to Karim Benzema, and again France with their attempts of a quick transition down. And you can see Rabiot dropping very deep. He is more of a technical box-to-box midfielder than the physical one, I'd say, but he has dropped back into effectively a makeshift left-back role. Not ideal, but given France's quality, you feel he should be fine as long as he doesn't go too far forward, a bit like what Dino was doing before his unfortunate injury woes. Semedo scrapping with Mbappe again. Aside from the penalty, you could argue that, Semedo has struggled, no doubt, with positioning throughout this tournament, and I guess he hasn't necessarily been that great in this tournament, in this game either. But a number of times he's kept Mbappe at bay, but ultimately it might not be enough here. And of course, that ball too far for Ronaldo, out of play there. Throw in to be taken by Koundé. But of course, when Benzema scored the goal to put the French in front, it came down Portugal's left side rather than his right. Their right. As I said, a lot of people were trying to blame Semedo for the 4 goals which Germany conceded, and yet many were arguing that the defensive midfielder's positioning was also to blame and also affected Semedo, as Rabiot and Benzema make an inspired charge down the left side. That was a really good run from Rabiot. Of course, he scored this sensational goal for his club Juventus a year ago, charging through into the AC Milan half before blasting a shot from outside the area. Great run and a great goal, although Juventus went on to lose that one 4-2. Palhinha has conceded a free kick, my bad. Back to Raphael Varane. Pogba. Rabiot. Palhinha with a inspired diagonal ball into Ronaldo, but former club teammate Varane is dealing with it. Varane thinking Ronaldo got a touch before it left play there, but Portugal take the throw in. Palhinha out to Guerreiro. Palhinha, of course, one of the great performers in this side who won that brilliant league title with Sporting Clube de Portugal. And here is a former Sporting player, Cristiano Ronaldo. And appeals for hands, and down smartly goes Hugo Lloris. And I believe, has he given another penalty, the referee? I think he has, And, it's not intentional handball by Koundé. He does raise his arms, but he is already trying to get them out of the way. I wouldn't say that's a particularly genuine penalty appeal, and it could well be that Portugal have a chance to go back level with the game. Goodness me, what a group stage this is turning out to be so far. And again, looks like the referee has already made his decision. It's Cristiano Ronaldo for a second time tonight. And unfortunate for Koundé. It was very much accidental, that one, for me. And hopefully he can keep his concentration. And a way back into this game for Portugal, who would vault all the way back into second place in this group. France on 5 points, Portugal and Hungary on 4, but Portugal on head-to-head beating Hungary, and Germany still bottom with 3 points. But that's all if Ronaldo can convert his second penalty of the evening and his third of the tournament. Lloris has often scored saved some key penalties for Tottenham Hotspur in the past. Not least of all against Manchester City in certain matches. So Ronaldo scores again. It's 2-2. 3 of the 4 goals tonight have come from the spot. But it is Another all-out action game, and once again Group F delivering the promised drama. Plenty of goals, 6 between Germany and Portugal, 4 between France and Germany. So far, over an hour. If you follow the math, we're on course to equal those 6 goals scored in Munich a few days ago. Of course, we've had a 1-0 win between France and Germany, and it could well be a 1-0 win for Hungary as things stand. Still half an hour to play. And it's Portugal who are now back in the competition. They would be second in their group and would go on to face England. There you have it. On head-to-head Hungary, whose goal difference is largely due to that late 3-0 defeat to Portugal, still leading Germany in Munich. N'Golo Kante. And although France are top of the group, will the two teams settle for a draw now? Because regardless of this result, it would probably be enough for all three of Portugal, France and Germany to go through, providing Germany do their bit against Hungary, as Mbappe's won a free kick. Of course, it was Bernardo Silva who brought Mbappe down earlier in the match. Roles reversed right now. Benzema there. And it is Paulinho who takes the free kick, and it's all the way towards Guerreiro. Really enjoying the ambition from João Paulinho. As he tries to charge his Portuguese side, maybe even towards victory. Here's Semedo, who's inside Adrien Rabiot, and I think he's won another free kick. And no challenge for the ball from Rabiot. He went into the back of, softly, not too aggressively, but into the back of Semedo's ankle. And once again we see Bernardo Silva and João Moutinho over the ball. Will the former Benfica man finally gets delivery duties over the former Porto player? And it is Silva who takes this one. And it's a terrible delivery. It misses everybody and out of play. And maybe that's why Bernardo Silva hasn't gotten preference over Moutinho from those set pieces. Of course, he's more of a creative player from his progressive abilities. So the way he carries the ball up the pitch, his dribbling, his flair. That is what Bernardo Silva appears to be better at than his out-and-out playmaking passing abilities, you could say. As Silva tries to press Rabiot, but he dances the ball back to Lloris. Here's Pogba. N'Golo Kante, who is sometimes effectively dropped into the back line there. And Pogba finding Koundé out wide here. But he's given it away to Sanchez despite Benzema's efforts. It's with Portugal again. It's Portugal who break forward here. It's Ronaldo. Griezmann slipped trying to win the ball there. Pepe. Semedo. Portugal definitely more in need of a big result than France. As I said, this result will be good enough, but suppose Germany win their game, against Hungary, or even if they snatch a point, that might be enough as things stand. And it is 1-1 in Munich as Kimmich took this free kick, his set piece, and it's an awful flap from Gulashi, and the rebound is headed in by Kai Havertz, who might have hurt himself in the process, or at least there was a Hungarian player on the floor alongside him. And that's another goal, is it, for Hungary? Unbelievable. No sooner than Germany do level, Hungary will not give up on this fight for the knockout places, and they again have gone in front. Unbelievable. As things stand though, Portugal would still be runners-up in their group on 4 points. France on 5, but Germany bottom and out with 3. Surely there'll be more action to come. 25 minutes to go, and even less time for the Germans and the Hungarians, of course. Rabiot cutting inside. Griezmann. Koundé. Griezmann, that's a beautiful, ambitious ball into Benzema, but he couldn't find Mbappe. But it's back with Benzema now, and he's tackled and it's cleared out of danger. Whew. Some indecisiveness and real difficulties for Portugal, understanding where they were going to mark the French players. A very tricky situation. I do think they let themselves down a little bit with the positioning there, but that was a great ball to find Benzema from Antoine Griezmann. Here he is again. Here's Adrien Rabiot. He goes for a shot. Benzema. Pogba. Pogba! Came off the post, I think. And here's Paul Pogba again. And the curling effort is wastefully wide. And this was from as good as 30 yards out. It was turned onto the post. It's a fantastic save from Rui Patricio. And we know Pogba can hit them from range. That's for certain. Of course, scored in that fashion in the World Cup final. Great, essential double save from Patricio. And many people felt Anthony Lopes, who plays his football with Lyon, should have taken his place. But Patricio has proved that he is still a very capable and worthy shot stopper. Paul Pogba will be disappointed. Can't remember the last time we had 3 penalties in a European Championship match, looking at the scoreline there. Palinia. It's Sanchez. Finding out Cristiano Ronaldo. And tackled by Adrien Rabiot. Gets it back to Presnel Kimpembe. Pogba. Back to Kimpembe. Now Varane. And even though 2-2 would be a harmless result for France, and they may well still top the group, as Griezmann appeals for handball against Sanchez successfully. As things stand, 2-2 would be very comfortable for France to top the group. So here they are, still pressing forward to win this match, which, as I said, if Hungary go on to win, would knock Portugal out of the championship. And we knew that despite vastly being underdogs in this tournament, that Hungary would go on to produce something. They would fight for everything. They have done just that, even away from their stadium. That's a lovely ball, and it's missed by Rabiot. Pogba has it now. Benzema. Don't even know if that was on target, really. Cold into Rui Patricio. But if France can sustain this intensity, maybe you'd fancy them winning this. Wouldn't it be remarkable that Germany are knocked out of the group stages of the European Championships, not just by fellow European giants Portugal and France, but also by once giants of football themselves, Hungary. Now diminutive opponents in comparison, as Ronaldo goes down, but there's no free kick, and Palhinha goes for glory, but it's even more wasteful shot than some of the other ones we've seen tonight. Here's Pogba's effort. What a strike. Patricio just saw that and then has to parry away. Griezmann's follow-up. And looks like we've got a switch to the midfield as Manchester United takes over from Manchester City, at least at the forward end of the pitch, as Bruno Fernandes comes on for Bernardo Silva. João Moutinho coming on for not just a teammate at international but club level. It's Ruben Neves. And Ruben Neves, I imagine, in a free with maybe not Bruno Fernandes, but definitely Palhinha. At the very least, an effective double pivot from which to play forward from. Here's Benzema. Pogba. Varane tries to spray it into Koundé, but it's easily headed out and cleared. Out of play for Varane to take the throw-in. Not intentional, obviously. 17 minutes to go. 17 minutes plus stoppage and injury time. Something tells me these 17 minutes are going to feel more like 30. With the intensity of these two sides pipped to win the tournaments. Mbappe with a harmless cross, but they do spend some time getting it back to Patricio before Griezmann can do anything with it. And I'll update you on the Germany-Hungary match. Not that there's been a goal, but it was Andras Schaffer who scored the goal to put Hungary back in front and give them their, against all the odds, a chance in the last 16. And if France do go on to win this game, it would mean Hungary finish second in their group and end up facing England. Portugal trying to get something together for the final 15 minutes. Palhinha forwards. And it's too high for, I believe that's Palhinha. As we see the goal that gave Benzema a 2-1 lead, which put France into a 2-1 lead nearly half an hour ago. Fine margins, could easily have smashed back off the post, and this game would be very different. But indeed, it is. 2-2. He did score, and Portugal did get another penalty. As things stand though, if France win this match, Portugal go home. And they could still. It's Antoine Griezmann. Griezmann's shot is blocked. And it's with Paul Pogba. Griezmann again. Maybe aiming for passing rather than shooting this time. Kante. Varane. Some nice touches. Karim Benzema with a great touch. Koundé's cross. And headed out. And that will go behind. No, it's still in play as Fernandes, I think, has given away a free kick against Rabiot. Semedo brought down in the area. Looks a bit cramped. Could be more than that. Although it is Mbappe who is helping him with the cramp part. I wonder if there could be other things at play there. But let's just say it's cramped for now, as it was Ruben Neves who saw that header potentially go out of play, but it is going to be a free kick in the end, but not before Semedo can get up again, or maybe his evening is at an end as well. As the teammates gather around for drinks, managers consoling their teams, at least Deschamps is doing that. Pepe thinks that Semedo might not be able to continue, and the crew of the Portuguese fans may be more relieved at seeing this. Sad to say. And there is going to be a replacement. Depending on how far Portugal progress, I wouldn't be surprised if Semedo returns. As he leaves the field. This game is over, and it's Manchester United's Diogo Dalot. Dalot, who was loaned out to AC Milan. Had a mixed season. Milan hesitant to sign him. But he takes his place. He takes the spot. There's 20. Takes over from 2. Game in Munich still in Hungary's favour. Less than 10 minutes remaining in that one, and they still lead 2-1. So you can see there it is currently Portugal on course to take their place as runners-up and would face England at Wembley. Here's Guerrero. A long night for everyone. Palhinha. Sanchez. Jota, haven't seen him in the game for a while. Sanchez goes on. And it's cleared. But kept in possession by the Portuguese. Fernandes back to Pepe. And no sooner was the ball with a former Sporting player than it is with a current one, with Palhinha. The former Porto player. Dalot just having moments earlier giving it to a current Porto player, Pepe. This is Varane. Here's Koundé. Cutting very far in field. No, that is Koundé receiving the ball. And N'Golo Kante into Presnel Kimpembe. Pogba. Back to Varane. And Kingsley Coman has won a free kick, and this is a new development. It is Germany who have scored an all-important equaliser past Gulashi. The score in this game identical to the one in Germany. And as things stand, Germany look set to go through to the last 16. They'd be on 4 points, and they would take second in the group over Portugal as things stand. And even if France were to beat Portugal, could well be. So Germany takes second in the group and Portugal third. Portugal would be on 3 points, but Hungary would then just be on 2, which is still a very respectable return for Hungary. A very solid, genuinely great showing given the opponents and the quality they've had to face. Rabiot trying to cut it in field without success. And Kimpembe is carded, is booked for a pretty strong challenge on Ronaldo, it has to be said. Oh, very rough indeed. Fully worthy of a yellow. If he'd gone in with his left boot more centrally, it wouldn't be far off a red card, I'd say. Cristiano staying on the pitch. And there you have the outcome of the group. All 4 teams, all 3 of the teams, all 3 of the big guns, with a +1 goal difference. Not that it changes much. Goal difference is not required as a tiebreaker, given that they're on different points or have had wins against each other on head-to-head. These teams. Here's Bruno Fernandes, and here's Ronaldo. He's tackled. Fed into Kante, but it's back with Portugal. Sanchez. Dalot. Neves. That's a good ball. He's found Bruno Fernandes. He'll try and get it across the penalty area. There was no one there, but it had to be cleared regardless. Out for a throw-in. Fernandes across the box, but it's with Kimpembe. Now it's with Kante. And Pogba's able to get it to Mbappe. Benzema, and it should be out of danger now. Cleared out of the box. Hugo Lloris has done it. And that's a good ball. Not many waiting to receive it. But Kingsley Coman has teed it up for Griezmann. Way overhit. He's already got one in this tournament, but it was struck way too hard, and on comes Moussa Sissoko on for Griezmann. So, of course, as things stand, as a third-place team, it looks as though it will be Belgium who face Portugal as a third-place team in the last 16. France would face a third-place team from A or C here. And England look like they will face Germany at Wembley, and we know what how things have gone for England in tournaments at Wembley against Germany or West Germany. Beat them in the World Cup final in 1966, but lost that European Championship final on penalties. Sergio Oliveira takes over the duties of Renato Sanchez, who's had another impressive evening. Patricio finding Ruben Dias. Pepe to Dallo. Neves, you can see Paulinho. And I guess Portugal just happy to waste time as things stand. As things stand well, they are going to take second place in the group. Germany, Portugal, a third place team, so that would mean that they face Belgium. Be a very juicy lineup in the last 16. Coman here though. Quickly intercepted. Portugal looking very awakened. Need to do something if possible in the dying moments of this match. Their group stage will not end in disaster. It's looking like it's more of a 4-4-2 diamonds at the moment with Jota and Ronaldo forwards. And then Neves, Fernandes, Oliveira and Paulinho all off the bench on. Dallo on for the injured, more cramped Nelson Semedo. And while France's participation in knockout stages wasn't in doubt before tonight, it's incredible that all three of their Group F counterparts, Portugal, Germany and Hungary, all at one stage or another were heading out of the competition. At other points, all looking like they could go to the knockout stages. The referee, the fourth official, has signalled for 5 added minutes. Maybe one final twist to a very unpredictable tale of Group F. Sissoko. Benzema. Out to Sissoko again. Kante. Benzema. I just saw Goddam's comment here. Semedo can't even mark a toddler's test. I don't think you or I should be the judge of that, actually. Coman tries to go on his left foot, and the referee isn't having any of it. He's grabbing his knee rather. But it didn't look like a penalty to me. Again, contact was pretty soft, although Fernandes does bring his knee into the back of Coman here. Clumsy challenge. The foul seems to begin just outside the area. But I think the referee has signalled it will be a free kick as Coman limps away. Looks like the stoppage time at the end of the first half was very lengthy. And we're in for another spell of that to end the second half. It is still going to VAR. Lahoche. Is consulting. And he's going over to the monitor. And we've seen this being done a few times. We saw it in the game between Croatia and the Czech Republic. Nope, he is not. He was just running back into the middle. I think excitement got the better of me this time. Lloris lets that go. As Jota could have been in to create a stunning last-minute winner to shock the group. France would have then dropped into a runner-up in the group, I believe, and then would have gone on to face... Yes, they would have gone on to be runner-up in the group and face England. It's looking like that is Germany's calling this time around. Still got 3 minutes to play. As our 16 opponents are about to be decided. You've got to sympathise with Finland, who would have been hopeful all evening that results would go in their favour. As it turns out, they have not. And as it turns out, it is sadly, despite winning that opening game of Group B, it is not to be for them as Portugal now have the ball. They're not going too intensely forward with it. More keen to continue playing it around. If Diogo Dalot, Ruben Neves hit. Pepe picks the pass forwards. And the French players have fallen over here, but it's cleared. And the referee has given a free kick France's way, won by Koundé, who's gone down in pain. It was Neves in the box and collision between Varane and Kimpembe. Kunde collided with Oliveira. Oh, Kimpembe and very unfortunate they didn't clash heads that much there. We've seen enough of that at this tournament. There it is! It is finished 2-2 in both of the final games of Group F. And France top the group. And it is Germany who go second. Portugal, a third place team, and we bid farewell to a very ambitious but sadly departing Hungary side. An entertaining game, far more entertaining than the final a few years ago in terms of out-and-out action. Maybe we should have let them play another 30 minutes to settle this one out as well, even though both teams appear to be pretty tired by the end of it. So for the last 16, it looks like it is going to be Belgium who face Portugal. And the winners of those will face the winners between Italy and Austria in that quarter-final. France will go on to face the third-place team in Group C, which I believe is Ukraine. Croatia plays Spain. So if Croatia and France win their knockout games, it could be a rerun of another famous tournament final, the World Cup final 3 years ago. Sweden, I think, are going to face... well, not a Group B. It could be that Sweden go on to face Ukraine, actually. My apologies. It is France who would face the third place in Group A. France will face Switzerland, and then the winner of that will face the winner of Croatia or Spain. Sweden then go on, and they will take on Ukraine. England do play Germany. The Netherlands against the Czech Republic in the final game. Not in chronological order, in fact it's the first last 16 game is Wales against Denmark. Portugal not too far away from their home camp in Seville. And England with the fortune of being the only team to play their elimination match on home soil. One of the two of the host nations, two of the teams at this tournament who held matches in their own stadium will take no further part. Scotland and Hungary, I'm sure, would have loved to have played on. Scotland knocked out of the championships yesterday, and Hungary follow. So indeed, knockouts first on the 26th of June between Wales and Denmark, and then later that evening Italy against Austria. The Netherlands take on the Czech Republic the following day, and then it's Belgium against Portugal, which is one of two incredibly big last 16 ties. Croatia then face Spain on the 28th, followed by France against Switzerland. So a bit of a derby there. England against Germany on the 29th, and the final knockout game will be between Sweden and Ukraine in Glasgow. It's been a fascinating group stage, and now ultimately we move ahead to the really exciting part, probably the reason why 24 teams can sometimes be enticing, even though we have played most of the games only to knock out a third of the countries. Now the real fun can begin. This is where you can truly make your name in tournament football. And those games will begin on Saturday. I need to complete my wall planner. I have been a bit lazy with that one. But it's been a good group stage, lots of surprising games. It's nice to see some different opponents in the knockout stages of the tournament, like Austria, Denmark, the Czech Republic, and of course Ukraine. Otherwise, I believe most of the opponents have played in knockouts before. Will be a very interesting watch. So, I will be back on Saturday if I have the energy. I apologise, by the way, for my absence in the last few days. I have been a bit busier than expected, and ultimately it is hard to commentate every day. I'm not expected to. Most commentators wouldn't be expected to cover games this often, but I will try and be back for as many knockout games as I can. If I have the energy, I will cover both games. I'll probably cover Wales against Denmark. I expect to be much closer. You'd think Italy could comfortably see off Austria, although that's the beauty of tournament football. Then I'll almost certainly watch Belgium against Portugal on Sunday evening. But for now, that is it from me. I will be back before long. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to continue subscribe to my channel if you want to see more live streams. So smash that subscribe button. But and I will of course follow the final knockout games, quarter-finals, semi-finals, and finally it is time to say goodnight for me. But I will see you all soon, and thank you for watching. So good night, and best of luck to all the opponents, all the countries taking part in the knockout stages. Wishing everyone all their success, not least mine and our opponents from Germany. So good night, see you all soon.